have the police. Like, this is going to be a marathon. Getting this country to where it needs to be, we have to be taking care of ourselves in the process, right? And
Yeah.
you talk a lot about mental health in the community and how that fits into justice.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that especially for, marginalized communities, Black folks, Indigenous folks, there is generational trauma. There's trauma that hasn't ever been addressed. There hasn't ever been a culturally competent, trauma-informed mental health care system, or even system of practices that is cultural, and accepted and encouraged in our culture, in our communities, and a lot of the resources that we have and practices that we have spiritually, and were taken from us, right, culturally. And so we haven't ever had a point in history where we've been able to deal with the trauma of slavery and genocide and such. So there is, and then it went to Jim Crow, and then it went to, segregation, and
Real complex.
yeah, and then the prison industrial complex and policing, which is a continuation of that legacy of slave catching and slavery under the guise of the 13th Amendment. And so that is our mental health care system right now. That's our largest mental health care provider, is prisons. Yeah, it's prisons and jails. And so, you know, it's increased trauma. It's a traumatizing system. And since we haven't ever had that, we have what we call generational trauma, trauma passed down from generation to generation. It informs the way we raise our kids. It informs, the way that we have our interpersonal relationships, how we deal with other communities. And we have, especially with the layers like women, Black women, Indigenous women, trans, have extra layers of anxiety and trauma because of transphobia, of sexism, compounded on top of racism and white supremacy. And so we have extra barriers in our way, and we are born into this country with trauma. So I don't think that, what we were focusing on was how we really can't liberate mental health, like truly have a culture and a society where we are well, thoroughly well mentally, without practice of abolition and reparations, of looking into abolishing the systems that target us, target our mental health, and exacerbate poor mental health, and build new ones that are centered in wellness, centered in healing, and recovery and repair of our communities.
So you've started a new initiative called hashtag Liberate Mental Health.
Yes, yes,
The tie between, like, we have to take care of ourselves, our bodies, and our minds in order to fight for, and in order to fight for freedom, we have to, and what's the opposite? We have to take care of ourselves and our minds, and also in order to take care of our minds, we have to fight for freedom. Like, those
yes,
go hand in hand.
absolutely. Being a part of the solution. I mean, you said it better than I wish I would have put that in my op-ed.
Her op-ed is so beautiful, and anybody who hasn't read it, go to Complex. Kendrick's written a beautiful op-ed about Liberate Mental Health.
Yeah, if you do have to be, for me and for many folks, um, we found that being a part of the solution is part of the healing.
Mm,
So being,
part of the solution, right? Both.
yes, yes,
Mhm.
because you fight for the infrastructure that we need, right? And because it's easy to feel hopeless because of all of we're inundated with this bad news, and oppression and trauma, and being a part of the solution gives us hope, right? Um, and then at the same time, in order to continue to participate, what we say is, a lot of in the social justice movement, is the movement moves without you. The
Mm.
movement will move without you. Um, and that's two pronged. It's saying be on the right side of history because it's going to move without you. But also that don't let your ego trick you into thinking that if you take time for yourself,
Mm,
that this movement's going to end.
right.
Like,
Like go to that 12-step meeting, go to your therapy appointment, go do some yoga practice at home by yourself, and know that the revolution will still be there waiting for you.
absolutely. People are doing this work all over the world. And the other thing about it is, I always say that we have to leave. My goal in life is to leave this world better than I found it, and I think that that is a liberatory perspective. Like every single situation you go into, I saw it. I got the perspective from somebody's grandma's bathroom. I went into their grandma's bathroom. I saw.
Excited into that bathroom. I hope you weren't just wandering into somebody's grandma's bathroom.
No, I went to use the restroom, and afterwards I saw the sign that said, "Leave it better than you found it." And it was the most profound thing in the world to me. I wouldn't ever think that that would change my life. But in their grandmother's bathroom, I sat there and looked at that sign and said, "That is the motto of my life. I'm gonna leave this bathroom." And every time I go into a bathroom, I'm reminded of it. Literally, I cannot go into it.
Good trigger. That's a
It's
good.
a trigger. And so I think about it in every situation. Consistently try to spread that message, go into every situation, look for the most vulnerable person, and work to liberate them, give them what they need, help them out, leave them better than you found it, leave them better than you found them, leave every situation better than you found them.
So
And
how?
then
Go ahead.
when you're by yourself, who is the most vulnerable person in that room?
Hmm.
You. So you need to liberate yourself, and you need to work to make sure that you liberate yourself. I think that's really important. It took me a while to realize that.
What do you do to take care of yourself? Because you're
Uh,
out there getting hit by rubber bullets and marching and writing letters to the mayor. You got me writing letters to the mayor. And you're out there doing it. So what are you doing to take care of yourself?
right now, I'm doing a lot of things because just a warning to most folks, if you don't, you end up having, you have a lot of physical health problems. And so I have some, and I've been, coordinating with my doctors to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do. I also have these wounds from these rubber bullets that I, have to dress often. It's a little tedious,
Yeah.
uh, and gross.
You
Uh,
have to care for yourself.
have to care for myself. I need to get more sleep. But my main things are making sure I get a little bit of sun,
Mm,
making sure I get a little bit of, especially black folks, people with a lot of melanin, we need that. We
yeah.
need that vitamin D.
Yep.
Um, it's genetic, but also making sure I get a little bit of fresh air if I can,
Mm.
eating properly, getting electrolytes, water, nourishing myself.
Therapy.
Uh, I do therapy. I at least once a week. Now I'm about to trying to up it to twice a week. Scheduling is a problem, but it is a priority. I do my best to schedule my priorities and not prioritize my schedule. So not try to fit everything in, but say, what are my priorities and focus on those. I do my best to ask. I have an assistant. I'm privileged to have an assistant and be able to pay him during COVID.
Who's
Um,
out there? Mario's also out there in the streets.
Mario got beat up by the cops as well. So I've encouraged him. I've got him a therapist. Um, and uh, and so I'm like, you know, I think that these are all super important, but at the end of the day, well, and then of course, like I said, being a part of the solution, doing those action items, making sure that I'm being productive and creative because creative is my heart. Um, but at the end of the day, the most important thing to remember, especially during this time, as we are in a heightened traumatic atmosphere every day, is to remember that it's okay if you do not accomplish those goals.
Yeah,
If
for it and to be gentle.
yes, be kind to yourself.
Yeah, I want to know because I want to be respectful of everybody's time. But two things, because you said your creative is your heart. I want you to really know your storyline on Insecure, how your character is grappling with mental health, is so powerful. It's so powerful for us to see that being expressed and talked about from you, and to be able to talk about it in our community. And really, your work tonight is so beautiful. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
And then what can we do? I mean, we are raising money in real time right now. If you haven't donated yet to build power through the Social Impact Fund, get on it. We're not going to be on here much longer, so give what you can. Even if all you have is $1, like that dollar might be the difference between what they do and don't have for masks, for people out on the streets, for volunteers. Like whatever you have is appreciated.